right, what's up? Just watching the Ian Carroll breakdown. Pretty sweet job. Let's see here. Just go to my main screen real quick. Yeah. So went out to the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and that was in Arizona. I was with my homie Luke Slywaker, and we had kind of wanted to go further. I did put it out, see if anybody wanted to help sponsor us to go, not being independently wealthy or having a trillion views as other people. And I think I got $10, maybe I got $20. So that did not exactly cover the next 8-hour drive to Utah, which I would have liked to do. But I didn't. And so Ian Carroll did. And I think he got some good footage, which I think may put some things to rest and maybe other things not so much. And then also, I don't know. I think some things are ruled out that I don't think are necessarily ruled out. Like, there's a few times when he's like, oh, it'd be really hard to take a shot from here, or there wouldn't be many places to take a shot from here. It's like, you only need one. So I don't think some of the things that he rules out are not necessarily ruled out. Some of the footage he gets is very clearly pointing out some very good things, information like why did he go under the tunnel, which kind of didn't make sense, but there's a fence there. That makes sense. And not to give you all the things in the videos, we kind of watch it, go through it together. I don't have a premium YouTube subscription, so it might play some ads in between. I'll try to minimize the effect of that. I try to scrub through it and as much as I could, but we'll see how it plays out. So yeah, let's see. We got a few people in here now. I might play a little intro just to see if we can get a couple more people in here. Again, we will be doing, just so people know, this will be about the Ian Carroll. I'll be going through all of his footage, having my commentary on what he's, saying about it. So yeah, there'll be Ian Carroll. We'll go through, we'll do the pros and cons. We'll talk about the things he's talking about. We'll talk about the things, if you guys have questions that you want to bring up, some other questions that I still have about the way this thing is and the way it's playing out, and some new things which I think are still new avenues. And again, I think I talked to people close to Charlie when I was out at the memorial, and a lot of them are not buying the official story, and a lot of them are concerned about the Israeli connection. And I was just going through some old footage of mine, which I'll be posting soon, which actually is right up close when he was in San Diego. And I was trying to find, because there was people on the rooftops. And I remember saying to Luke, I was like, are those our guys, or, like, who are these people? Hopefully they're good people. So when people say, oh, if someone was on the roof, that would preclude, like, it couldn't happen. I mean, it kind of depends on how the person handles themselves. Like, if they know how to look official and stuff like that. A lot of people just assume, hey, those are the marksmen, or those are the snipers ready to protect. For example, like, you go to the Butler rally. I mean, did people say, oh my God, there's snipers on the roof, we got to bail? I mean, no, because there were obviously, military snipers or Secret Service snipers. So does it technically preclude that if somebody's obviously on a roof or even has a gun, that you automatically are just not going to accept and walk into the situation? Because like I said, we've done it. When I went out to the Charlie Kirk Memorial, there were people in buildings with guns, and I actually shouted up to them, like, you guys, the good guys? And they're like, nodded, but just because they nodded, that doesn't really mean much. I couldn't see them close enough, but I could tell they had guns and they were on rooftops. So I'm just saying, just because someone's visible on a rooftop does not necessarily mean that that they wouldn't take a shot. And also, if it does turn out to be a shot from that position, which we have triangulated from a few different angles, it still doesn't mean that it's Tyler Robinson, because there's no real footage of him with the gun. There's no anything really tying him to the place, and there's all the weirdness that goes along with that. So still could have been a shot from that location, and still could be a patsy. So in a logical flow chart, just because one thing isn't one thing doesn't mean it's not another, and just because one thing is one thing doesn't mean, but you know how it works. It's just because it precludes one thing doesn't necessarily mean it precludes another. For example, just because there was a shooter on a roof doesn't mean it was him. Just because he was there doesn't mean it was him. Just because there was a shot taken from there doesn't mean there couldn't have been a second shot. Doesn't mean technically there couldn't have been exploding mics. All these different theories. So I'm just going to watch it without further ado. Well, actually, I'm just looking at a couple more people in here. Did you see this? I'm just going to play this. Technically not affiliated directly with InfoWars, but the guy, I did get a press pass to go into the Charlie Kirk Memorial because no one was out there covering it. Rob Dew hooked me up. Didn't make any money from that. They did play it on the show. Harrison played it on the show, my clips, but I'm pretty pumped on this video here. That's Wars of the Info. He's been making all the 3D the AI commercials for InfoWars lately, and he did this one, and I was like, "There's no way they're gonna play it on the air." And it was funny because my friend loaned me a golf cart, and they're like, "Oh, I left you some treats," and it turned out they were like edibles. It was these M&Ms. I thought they were M&Ms, but they're M&Ms. And so I was on the golf cart driving around. I'm like, man, this golf cart is so cool. Like it's a whole nother level. But apparently I accidentally ate 600 milligrams of THC. and then I ended up watching this commercial, and I was like, oh my God, it was so stony like when they played it. But anyway, here it is. I'll play this and then we'll go right into the ink, Carol. I'm just waiting for a few people to get in here. Bear with me.
Alex and his crew journey to planet Turmeric. Greeted by the leader who offers the golden gift of health, the crew loads the ship with radiant turmeric bound for Earth. Their mission is clear: bring strength, vitality, and balance to the people. From the stars to your home, it's the golden treasure of wellness. Fuel your body, power your future.
Anyway, I dig that. So we'll get into it. We got 130 people in here now. We'll start the show. We'll get it rolling. We'll let Ian do his thing here. Like I said, I wish I wanted to go. There was no money. I was kind of putting it out there to Ryan Matta, kind of hoping I know he has money to fund stuff, and I'm just not independently wealthy. And I was out there with Luke, and he had to get back and do some work. So we just decided to call it even. But as a result, I think Ian, hopefully he got some interviews too, because I definitely would have went stronger on the interviews. I probably would have got so caught up interviewing people that I might not have got all of the actual structural elements that he did. I'd like to think I would, but I know myself, and I probably would get carried away following leads of people talking and doing interviews. So this is very valuable information. And if it proves one of your theories right, or it disproves it, the key is to just take truth as it is, take the information as it comes in. If it happens to disprove one of your pet theories, then, don't cry. There's many other conspiratorial avenues to go down. And if for some unknown crazy reason, it does turn out that kid actually made that text and everything, yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. To me, that's actually one of the most unbelievable parts of the whole thing. So I guess theoretically he could have done it and they just made up the text thread. That's an alternate theory, but I'm not buying it. So here, let's get Ian do his thing here. I'll sit in the corner and I'll do a little commentary. And here he goes.
Specifically to check out this one specific thing. And I'm actually going to increase the size of our screen share on screen here so that it's nice and easy to see. So I had noticed in the footage of the event that there's kind of a little bloop on top of this roof.
Bloop.
And from this far around angle, it's not that obvious. And then when Homeboy, this YouTube account called Life is Driving, was doing interviews, they were live streaming the whole time. It's some of the best footage that we have of the day of the event. And in the footage, it was pretty easy to see this little thing up on the roof. This is all in fast motion. And I just kind of sped through all the interviews he was doing, and then the shot happens.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your exact address in just seconds. Imagine pulling up your neighborhood, spotting your roof, your street, even the landmarks around you, all in real time from an aerial view. It's like having your own personal window to the world right on your screen. This tool is simple to use. Just type in an address and instantly explore detailed satellite imagery with incredible clarity and precision. Whether you're curious about your home, checking out a vacation spot, or just exploring places you've always wanted to visit, it's all right here. Discover the power of seeing your world from above. Don't just hear about it, experience it. Try this free satellite Earth Maps tool today and see your world like never before.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I've spent the last 43 years now working with people all over the world in 100 countries.
Sorry about that.
And I
guess
noticed
I don't
in the
have
original
premium
footage that after the
to,
shot happens, the first time that you get to see the roof again, the thing is not there anymore. And then you get a better view, and the thing is definitely not there anymore. The little bloop that was there, it's not there. So is that like a weird angle thing? Because before, it was super obviously there, right? And it looks like maybe it's just a smokestack, like a little exhaust vent or something like that. It's not like it's necessarily even looks like a shooter. I was also looking at the deck to see what's going on there.
Yeah, so in this video, he makes quite a big deal out of this bloop thing, which I will say it is interesting that it does appear to not exist on certain angles. Not exactly sure of the elevation of the different angles or what's going on there. I do have a theory about it, and we'll get to it here in a bit. We'll let him flesh it out a little bit more from his angle.
But it is obvious that after the shot, whatever it was doesn't appear to be there anymore. And so is it by changing angles or getting closer? Did it just go out of sight because of the angle of the roof? That was one of my biggest questions, my own personal question about the scene that I wanted to answer. And I have some answers and some more questions. That being said, there's also a lot of other theories that are floating around that I wanted to kind of check on and see what happened. Chris Martinson put out a really great video the other day analyzing the ballistics and positing maybe another rooftop that we should be examining. And I have details on that rooftop that Chris Martinson was curious about that I think are pretty clear. And a lot of people are looking at side angle shots, and I don't have anything clear on that, but I've got a lot of footage that adds more questions. So I traced the shooter's path and wandered in. Same way. And, there's nothing really like crazy about the route in. It is what it is. We've all seen it. I did have questions about this point in the route where the shooter went through the tunnel and got caught on camera. And if anyone has been wondering why the shooter turned and went through this tunnel where there are cameras, I was starting to suspect maybe the shooter went through the tunnel on purpose, or not the shooter. Like maybe this guy walked in front of those cameras on purpose to leave an intentional trail for the feds to get, right? Like why go through the camera tunnel when you could just walk across the street? And then I got here and I learned that actually there's a fence across the end of the street. Straight down the road where we're going to turn left to get up to Lossie. Because the shooter turns right here, which is like directly off course. Like you're walking straight down a road into campus and then you turn hard right away from your destination just so you can go down through this tunnel. That seemed very suspicious to me. But part of the reason why we go and look at things in person on the scene is because I got here. Now getting on to UVU property. Okay. And then it just dawned on me. So there's a fence up blocking that road from going through. So maybe that fence was there. Or maybe that's why he had to come down into the tunnel. The fence ends right there, right by those trees. And
I will say also that, when we're talking about, let's say, obviously we're all thinking it's a professional hit. This guy's got it all cased out. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's absolutely figured out. But in a if you're fleeing a murder, I have a feeling not everyone is maybe doing the most logical thing all the time, so there's a point when he's like talking about him running into the forest and he wouldn't go this way. It wouldn't make any sense to do this or do that. I mean, fight or flight, when your adrenaline is that high, there has got to be a little leeway depending, what your theory is. If you're maybe going to jump a fence, like he's like, well, you wouldn't go over there because of this or that. And it's like, well, I mean, if I was running for my life, I mean, I might just jump the fence. He says, oh, I wouldn't go in this backyard, but maybe someone else would. I'm just going to put that out there before he goes on. But I do think this is key because a lot of people were saying, why did he go down there? And thanks to Ian Carroll going there, boots on the ground, we actually do know. And he does go up and verify this fence. So let's check that out.
Extends up to the edge of the bushes up right there. So maybe that's a good excuse to come down into this tunnel because the tunnel has security camera. Okay. So much later in that day, where would it be? Right here. I came back and examined that fence from the other side, and it's pretty clear. This fence is not new. It's old from the way that the grass has grown into it and the way that there's a little stoner trail right beside it of people walking around it. So clearly this fence has been here, and that's why you had to go down into the tunnel. So little things like that seem suspicious at first until you're there and you suddenly there are explanations for some things, right? That fence was clearly there the day of, so we had to go down through the tunnel. I went on a Sunday and everything was closed up, so the building that Tyler walked through to get up to the position was locked. There's cops everywhere there now, which is cool. And I met one, hung out with him for a second, tried to give me a little tour, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm not really having it. And so let's get on to some of these first questions. The side of the Losi Center. And I'm not sure if that, I can see the top of Sorensen super clear. So this is a theory that Chris Martinson posited, that maybe the angle from the top of Sorensen would make more sense for the shot that came in. I don't feel like, if you're a professional, I don't feel like you plan to be on a rooftop out here. There's too many, the thing is the levels make it so there's lots of shots, but they make it so that all the shooting positions are visibly like super out in the open to basically everybody. Especially on a day when there's people all over the place swarming. That seems like a horrible idea. So we're coming up on the other side where he came through the building and it's locked up today. So another rooftop. So one thing that is more clear being here rather than on footage and on Google Maps is it's super weird that there was someone on top of the Woodbury building apparently in the footage, because when you look at the Woodbury building. Do you guys not have audio from my video? So one thing that is more clear being here, and so with no way to get up easily and no way to hide, like I presume that some of the windows open. I presume that roof access is gained through like the little opening of the windows. How's that audio, guys? Very low audio. So what I'm explaining here, here's what I'll do is I'll mute it and I'll just talk to you. is there's all these levels in this campus, and kids were like walking down this stairway behind me on the way to go see, and you can see the whole top of a lot of these rooftops.
All right. Now, I don't know who watched it because I don't know. Apparently, if I don't claim to know that I've blown the lid off the story, or I know for a fact who the shooter is, or I know for a fact, like everyone else does, um, I made a Google Earth image of this entire location, and I broke down this whole thing about this rooftop here in the Woodbury building, about how it is completely overlooked by by this other building behind it. Here, let me give the big screen here. So by this it's overlooked by this building over here over his shoulder. It's overlooked by this other building here, but over his shoulder. It's overlooked by this building over here. So this Woodbury building where the person or the object was seen here from this angle right here. I broke that whole thing down and I pointed out that this was really not a great spot. Now, again, you could have had people who are supposed to be legitimate snipers, and this corner back here is, in my opinion, still a possible angle, but again, there's no cover on this roof at all. So yeah, let's just let him break it down. I did actually previously break this down just from Google Earth alone.
Like the Woodbury building, where we had footage that had someone on top of that building, you can see the whole rooftop from here. Clearly, you can see down onto the rooftop, and there's no visible access to the rooftop at all. And so the very fact that there's even like kind of a person up there at all on the day of, like, I almost am questioning whether that really was a person in the footage now, because it would be so visibly obvious to all kinds of people coming down from this upper level to come and see Charlie, that it just is really weird. Once you're there, so there's this thing that footage makes it all look like you're so far away. It makes everything look really distance because footage compresses everything. The angles of like the lenses do weird distortion, but like that's right in front of you when you're on campus. That is not far. That's like if your buddy was up there on that roof, you could just have a regular conversation with them. You wouldn't even need to shout. You could throw a tennis ball back and forth with them. It's not far away, and it's really easy to see it all in person when you're there. And so it makes it a lot more obvious that like that would, it just doesn't track. It doesn't track. Let me see if I can add some this audio source real quick.
I do apologize. Again, I do not have premium on YouTube. Maybe that's something I need to get, but I don't have a budget. But so here we go back again. Anyway, I'm gonna get involved in some of this stuff. I'm gonna let him cook for a while, and then I'm gonna break down some of what I got from it afterwards. So it's not just watching the clip of the video, but I do, basically say everybody should watch all videos, and I still think people should keep their minds open to alternate theories. So, I think the audio is fine. I don't know what to talk about. All right. I gotta argue with this here. So I think I don't know if you've seen it. For whatever reason, I can't pull up multiple screens on here, so I have to unpresent and then present a screen. I'm not sure why it does that for me, but StreamYard will not allow me to do multiple screens. If anybody has a better screen sharing platform, I would appreciate it. But let's have a look at this here on my page. It's right. So anyway, I have we'll get back to these later. So I had posted this about the Bushman, and I just want people to look at this Bushman theory a little bit more. Just because you're there on a day that has nobody there and you're seeing an empty place and you think, okay, well, this is not possible because I mean, just imagine all of the hoopla that's going on. People aren't really paying attention to the surroundings. They're more paying attention to what's going on in the scene, right? So let's just have a look at this video here real quick. It's pretty short, but before people just go ahead and just completely debunk this, later on he goes on to pointing out that all of the sound, the boom, thwack, or whatever they call it, the ballistics, you can tell how far the sound is, and then if you triangulate 3 different cameras with the sound, that basically comes out to exactly this spot. We'll get to that later, but let's have a look at that.
Position right behind Charlie Kirk, if you will.
Sniper. I mean, it looks like a sniper. If he's not checking the rooftops, what is he doing? Okay.
Notice that there's students everywhere on the bottom ground floor. There's students all over, and the students everywhere on the bottom.
All right. So, are you telling me that that does not look like a hat and an arm and a gun? This is the bush. So people went back. John Cullen went back, and everybody else, because it's been debunked, just kind of let it go. I am not completely letting this go. I've let a lot of other theories go, and I am not letting this one go. There is a bush here. We shall see that here in a second. There is a bush. And you will see. So here, I'm sorry, I didn't have my so this is the hat. This is what appears to be, you know, even a logo on the hat. This is the shoulder. This is the t-shirt. This is the arm. This is like where the scope would be, and the gun behind what is, yes, a tree. There is a little bush there, or as a fern, as it has been referred to. However, the fern is this little triangle here. It does not explain this, to me, obvious humanoid shape that is sitting right here directly in the line of sight. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying I've blown the lid off. I've blown the lid off. This is it. It's a fact. I know. No, I'm saying this looks like a person to me. That's all I'm saying. And then we'll keep watching it.
Bottom ground floor. There's students all over, and the staircase that's behind you. There's even students in the elevated position right behind Charlie Kirk, if you will. So there's lots of students there. But look at the next tier up, the one with that fern. There's nobody. There's nobody up there. I've been told by George Webb, who went there in the location, is that he tried, when he was walking the campus after the shooting, he tried to get up to that location. He can't, because it's a teachers only area. It's a restricted area, which would make complete sense on why there's no students there, which also would make complete sense why a sniper would be up in that position.
All right. I think we've seen enough on that. But let's, see here the angle. You can see the angle. And then another thing, no offense, but Ryan Matta was on I love Ryan Matta, but he was on Tim Pool and he's doing great work. But he's like, Tim Pool's like, oh, what's up with this trapdoor theory? And then Ryan Matta's like, oh, yeah, that was Matt Baker. He posted that. That thing's way away from Charlie. It's not way away. Okay. This is not way away. His easy up is about this big right here. And then there's an other side of another table beside him. And the entire stage is actually up on a platform. And if anybody doesn't believe that, you can watch multiple angles and you will see Charlie Kirk is in fact on a platform above this. So would it be possible? Not only that, would it be possible if there is a space under here, which we'll find out about later, which I wanted to go there and see. I was ready to cut the bolt on this or pay somebody to get me down in this little crawl space here. And you'll see later, it's pretty big. I would have been a little bit more interested in this. Is it possible that there could have been literally someone underneath him if they could crawl directly underneath that platform and shoot up? Is it possible? Yes, I believe it is possible. Is it the truth? Not necessarily. Could it have shot up and went up through basically his butt and into his spine and bled out the neck? It's possible. In my mind, it's possible. I think it's strange. No one ever said that this. People like, oh, well, that little trapdoor is there because of irrigation or this or that. It's like no one was claiming that they put a trapdoor in just because Charlie Kirk was coming. Like that was never a theory. Okay, the theory was that it is weird that there's one there. And as with all the weirdness that there is, it's almost like how much weirder could it get? You've got a fucking trap door. Okay. That's just weird. Okay. And there is, I don't want to spoil it, but Ian Carroll managed to get up there and he managed to look inside this and there is a space underneath it. And I would say it does in fact go underneath where Charlie Kirk is in the picture. And so with the platform that he's on and the fact that for some reason they tore out the grass and put down bricks, that is weird. Like who gets planning permission to do something like that? Like, don't you have to call an architect? The architect submits plans. They give it to the board. The board makes a decision. Maybe you put it by Charlie Kirk's wife. You say, what do you think? Is this tasteful? Should we do it? Should we not do it? Do you ask the FBI? Is this okay? Is it going to be weird? Is there stuff in the crime scene? I mean, the whole thing where they scrub the crime scene and completely obliterate the underneath layer. And just because no one believes the trapdoor theory, to me, it's offensive and it's not way off there. And by the way, I didn't invent the theory. I was just the first person to post it on X because I go back and forth between the platforms on Instagram to see if there are videos that we're not circulating. Because a lot of people on X are in a little bit of a, an echo chamber, and we get a video and then everyone shares it and everyone talks about it. And then on other platforms, there are other videos that are circulating that people who don't have X accounts and they just don't bother cross-pollinating it. So I go over quite a bit. I should do TikTok more, but I'm quite a bit over on Instagram, and I'll find a video that I have not seen before. And then I will post it just to say, and the people are like, I've seen that video before. It's like, okay, well, I haven't. I've been spending freaking weeks on this. I've seen almost every single video. And if I see a video of something I haven't seen, I'm going to post it. So if you've seen it, good for you. And if you haven't seen it, then I would copy all these videos so we have them for the future. That's all I'm saying. So I'm putting them out there. I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not saying I know for a fact I found this or this is proven evidence like everyone else does every 5 minutes. And then the next day it's a different story and they've got absolute proof that it's this guy and absolute proof that it's that, I'm not going to get into it because I'm just not going to go there. But yeah. So let me just point this out before. So I posted this. So John Cullen, apparently he posts this. He's like, oh, it's been debunked. there it is. It's a fern. So, okay, there's a fern. You know, that's a good place to post up and hang out. And Ian Carroll says there's no way because everyone would see you. Well, there's a lot of cute girls on the thing. There's a lot of hoopla. There's a lot of leftists running around. There's Charlie Kirk, the center of all attention. Not everyone is focused on a tree up there. So let's look at these two images. Where is it? So look, this is the tree, right? That is the tree. And this is the tree, right? See the shape? What is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? If you're telling me that's just some random thing that happens to look like a baseball cap and an arm and a shoulder and a thing that just so happens to be over this bush, which apparently is just a bush. Now we've completely ruled it out because there's a bush there. I have not completely ruled that out. I have not completely ruled that out. And I want to show you again this side by side of what this looks like. Look at that. Look at that image. I had them side by side somewhere, but I can't see it right now. That is the shoulder. That is the thing. That is the scope. That is a hat. Look at the positioning of that shape. Look at it. Now look at this. Right? Right? It's the exact same position. And this is not a fucking fern. This is not a fern. That's a fern. That's not a fern. Okay? So now let's get back to the video. All right. So that's all I got to say. I you know, the one of the number one things we got to make sure is like, I swear there are certain people. I don't know. I'm not going to name names, but I think there are certain people that once a theory is posted up, they'll say, "No, you fucking idiot. It's absolutely not that." And then they'll have some like little fake rebuttal so that whenever you bring it up, people will say, "No, that's already been debunked." And I feel those people are out there who probably assets who are probably there to either feed fake information and or throw shade on theories that actually have plausibility to them. Okay. So now again, I got to go back to my other screen. One of these days I'll get a streaming platform that does more than one screen so I can just flip back and forth, but I have to stop sharing the screen and then I have to reshare the screen. I don't know why I can't just have two screens up, but that's the marvel of modern technology. Back to Ian and his amazing work. Getting there, going boots on the ground, mad props to the homie. Okay, let's hear him now.
This is the entrance to that balcony.
Restricted. That doesn't mean shit. You think like an operator couldn't have a code
up to that
couldn't
balcony
fix that code, couldn't open that and have like
a gated
court
door
lunch.
that's always access controlled. That's interesting.
Looks like a pretty good vantage point.
So there wouldn't be any way to even get like, this is like a key coded lock.
But if you're like Black Ops Mossad, you can't go through this key coded lock. Again, that doesn't convince me of anything. The fact, if anything, that makes it a better spot because not anyone can come and fuck with you. You can get up there and no one else can. In fact, theoretically, you could close it and change the lock key and make it even harder for anyone else to get up there. So that doesn't rule it out for me.
On this door. So maybe someone was on the balcony, but it seems relatively unlikely once you look at what the balcony access looks like, as well as like how visible it is to everybody else. I did a lot of looking at the walls, the windows, looking for cameras.
You can see that there's a camera
Little camera
there on that wall too.
Another question that I've had this whole time is what are up with these vents? Are these closed vents? Are there slats in them? Is this possibly a crawl space that people could be in, shooting out of? And the answer is no, not really. Let me see if I can just zoom this in for you guys. Do I get any closer to them? Yeah, I peeped them a little tighter. So I'm going to zoom us in here. These vents are clearly like there's cobwebs on them. They're rusted and kind of dirted into place. These vents, these screens have clearly not been removed. They're clearly are solid and stable.
I really appreciate how he's taking this into account when it came to the fence, to see if the fence was new or to see if these grates were new or not. I think this is a very key point than to just say there is a grate, that it actually looks like it's patinaed and been in place for a while.
And in place. So to me, and I looked at each one of them
And then
individually.
heavy screen in front of them.
I think we
And
can put any
clearly the
theories
screening
about
hasn't
things
moved.
like, honestly, there's some footage of like a kind of droney looking thing flying out of one of those. And that makes no sense because those things are not open and there's no way to open them.
Completely.
So I don't know what to make of that.
It's all cobwebby and rusted, and clearly it's not gone anywhere. The person that people are saying was at the stairwell, no line of sight. You'd have to be right up.
So this spot is pretty interesting because you kind of realize that even if you were on the balcony, you'd have to be right on the edge of the balcony to have a line of sight.
Okay. And if you were going to be shooting, you would be on the edge of the balcony. So again, just because you would have to be on the edge of something, it doesn't rule it out. But I understand he's just going through the conversation here. We were just talking about it. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying some of these things that get ruled out because it would be tricky or be hard or there's only one line of sight. It's still, then yeah, you'd be on the corner.
On the roof, you'd have to be right on the edge of the roof to have a line of sight. And this corner is getting some attention, but once we go up higher, this corner looks very exposed as well. So all the theories about a shot from the side run into this problem of like a shooter needs a line. They need a location to shoot from, which is not
Maps for.
not
But this
easy to
uppermost
find
roof up here, you'd have to be right at the edge, like super right at the edge. And there's nothing else over there that's open.
I mean, this crack right there is kind of sus. But like how, like, you know, Charlie's tent is gone, obviously. But how would you plan an assassination around a line of sight that required a chair placement, a tent placement, everything to be exactly laterally correct so that you have this complex line of sight down this crack in the building? That does not make sense to me. Of all of the side shooter locations that are possible, because I scanned this whole wall, I even was looking at drain pipes. Like, does anything come off of this wall? Are there any openings anywhere? And I think for me, the most likely theory is the rooftop. The part of the reasoning for the rooftop. Oh, did I move Google? Here, let me pull up Google Earth. So part of the reasoning for why this rooftop is suspect, in my opinion, is because we saw that weird thing in the footage that was on the rooftop. But people obviously notice on Google Earth, there's this little black thing that looks like a shadow from like a drain pipe, right? Theoretically, it looks like a drain pipe, at least. It looks thin and long. So maybe that's what we were seeing. Seems logical. So I was expecting to see a drain pipe up there and to be like, cool, it's a drain pipe. It's there all along. It must just be a weird like artifacting of why it disappears. But it's worth noting that this looks like roof access right here. This structure is roof access because there's no other way to get onto this roof. You can't get up there. There's no other access. This whole rooftop is visible from like street level over here. So, you know, it wasn't this rooftop. It wasn't, this is the rooftop I was showing how we can see the whole top of this white rooftop here. So this is the only rooftop anywhere over here other than maybe back here in this corner area that we're looking at. These two locations are like the only two that are still plausible in my mind for a shot from the side, personally. Okay. So we're looking up here and up here. But then we'll come back to that. I want to go to the footage that I got today of, oh, that's at the trap door. Okay. So then I pull up. I saw this thing yesterday with my smaller like POV camera, and I wanted to get my telephoto lens out and come back and look at it because it didn't look like the thing that we saw in the footage on day of. And I don't know if it is. Okay. What the hell is that? It's like R2-D2 up there. And this one's shaky. Let me go to where we get it clear. Turned on image stabilization. What the hell is that? I mean, I'm not saying like that's obviously not like some nefarious device or anything, but like some sort of drain.
Okay, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. I'm sorry. Man. So I'm assuming Ian Carroll, has not done any construction in his life. I'm just assuming that. I know he's an athlete and he's a manly man and all, and I love the guy. But this was LOL, laugh out loud. Like, what is that? Is that R2-D2? It's that is what they call a gooseneck HVAC vent. I don't know if you could zoom. I don't think I could zoom in on it on that, but let me share you an alternate screen here, and I'll show you which this is pretty funny. What is that? Is it R2-D2? I thought it was Ed 209, man. You got to get away from that thing. It's like a robot sniper. It's like an Israeli robot sniper gun. It's like that could have taken Ian out, man. He was close there because there's like literally robot drone guns on the rooftops over there, and he's right in the line of sight of the thing. I'm just fucking around, bro. Just kidding. But let's see here. So again, I got to go through this stupid multiple screen share retardedness for no apparent reason. Let me get back over here. And let's see here. I got my X page. So let's see. So all right. Let us see. We've got a whole bunch of these R2-D2s. They're pretty scary. Look at these things. This is like, what is that? What is that? What is that? Okay, now I'm not saying that this is happening because I do agree. I do agree with Ian that I do agree that that it is weird that it appears to be seen from one side and not the other side and this and that. But I also think because these things are metallic, if you see some areas, they kind of reflect the color of the sky, depending on where they are and where the sun is. So we're on the dark side of it. At the point he's there, it appears that the sun is over to the other side and that the shadows are actually being dropped on there. So you're seeing the shadowed side. So no matter which way you go around on the shadow side, it doesn't appear to change. However, as you know, if you have a mirror outside, if you get it directly on you, it'll flash you. But if you don't and you put it towards the sky, you can actually like make it almost appear to disappear because it reflects the color of the sky. And so depending on how the sun is and the angle of the sun, if the sun was coming at it more obliquely forward, these may possibly I find it hard to believe, and I don't know why they would just automatically install a vent just to cover up maybe where somebody stood at a certain time, or maybe because there was this person there, they said, let's put a vent up there. So if anybody questions it, we'll say, well, that was a vent, you know? So there is an anomaly, but this whole R2D2 thing had me like busting up laughing because I've actually installed these. He later on goes for about like rooftop specialists. So, yeah. Being a good goy, I do a lot of manual labor. And so I have seen these things in the field. And I was not under any impression that they might be some kind of sniper Jewish space laser robot. Anyway, I'm moving on. I'm sorry to be a dick, but that was pretty funny. I was like, what is that? It's a vent. That is a vent. A gooseneck HVAC vent. Okay, possibly from a kitchen or a laundromat that's built into the school, or just even from the HVAC itself. You know, those big campuses have a lot going on. Anyway, we'll get back to the man himself. I love Ian. I'm not trying to be a dick, but you know, I'm just critiquing here. You can watch the video without me being annoying if you want. It's on YouTube, and everything Ian does is amazing. And I love him, and I love Ryan Matta, and I love everybody who's out here. You know, Candace Owens and all the people that are keeping the skepticism alive and keeping the finding a lot of stuff that's basically going to be very hard for the system to patch over and cover up. You know, back in the day, they could just come out and say, this is what happened, and everyone would just believe it. And those days are over. Those days are over because we have too much information, and it's making it harder and harder and harder for these assholes to pull these false flags off. And so we will see, you know, if this guy doesn't end up suiciding himself, I would be absolutely amazed. And if he does make it to trial, like they're saying that he's going to actually make it to trial, and, you know, it's going to be an open trial, which is great. And I hope that's true. But that makes me feel like he's all the more likely to be suicided. And or if you remember the Aurora shooting, the guy who's supposedly the mastermind, he came out and he like with orange hair and he was like dazed looking at the freaking wall, and he was catatonic, incapable of speaking. So I wouldn't be surprised if by the time this guy comes out, he's like totally MK Ultra'd on God knows what psychotropic drugs, and he just sits there like a vegetable in the back of the thing, or nodding, where they've like trained him, like when they zap him, he nods. You know, it's a very disconcerting world we live in, because these motherfuckers just lie to us constantly, and they never tell us the truth about JFK, RFK, MLK, and now CK. And it's not okay. CIA, FBI. Okay, so this mystery object is what we have now managed to ascertain is in fact a drain pipe. I mean, a vent pipe. And so we're over here, and yeah. So I got to get back to the thing here. I'm going to share the screen here. Forgive me. I have no producer. I don't have a high quality situation here, but back to the homie, back to sharing. There he is. Let's get him talking again. And I got a lot of windows open here, so it's making it tricky. So there we are. What is that
pipe thing? And it's pretty big. It's like big and noticeable. And it might be the thing that was in the footage from the day of, but it's huge. And noteworthy, it does not disappear when you walk left and right. I walked the angles. I wonder if I've got that piece of the footage here.
From the walkway.
It would be, no, it would be in the other day when I saw it here.
Is very clearly visible from there and from here.
So this is zoomed in right now.
And it's not.
So this is me walking back and forth back here about where the interview happened, where the Life is Driving footage was filmed from.
Not out of view.
And you can see it, this whole area. It doesn't go out of view until you get all the way up above Charlie Kirk's position.
All the way right above almost where Charlie was.
So here I'm standing above where Charlie was, and it's still vaguely visible. It probably wouldn't be visible in that footage that we would have been looking at. But it doesn't just go out of view. Like, let's go back to the original footage that got me asking these questions, okay? In that original footage, by the time bro gets over and around to here, it's a very thin little straight looking pole. And maybe that's the same thing. Maybe it's just two different cameras seeing it differently, right? Maybe it's not all that suspicious. We get around closer. So this is after the shot. And after the shot, it's not there. Right? In the original footage from the day of the shooting, the thing is gone right there. And it's clearly there, right there. And it looks a lot smaller than what I'm seeing today. Okay? And that's not to say that it's necessarily, like, it could be the same thing. It could just be the nature of video cameras, I guess. But like when he's interviewing this guy, they're standing in this position. So right there, I just checked in on it. That's like right at the same lateral positioning as when he interviews these people. He interviews these people, and then the shot is fired right from this interview position, and all he does is walk over to the gate, to the railing. And you can see from this position, it's already gone before he even moves over the railing. Right? Like, am I crazy? Am I crazy? I might be crazy. But like today, now,
is very clearly visible from there and from here. And it's not out of view until back here. Clearly it's visible.
And it's like a full-on R2-D2 thing. It's not like a narrow little pole thing. So like, I am honestly wondering, like, is it newly installed?
San Diego County faces a slew of lawsuits filed since more than 100 individuals have come forward with allegations.
Sorry about that.
Like, was that always there? Because there are new things popping up on the rooftops. There's like new cameras getting put up and new stuff getting put up. And I don't know what to make of it. It is what it is. Doesn't solve anything, but it's got my hackles up. I'd be curious if any rooftop experts can tell us what this kind of thing looks like it's for.
A rooftop expert.
I want to know. So that's that rooftop thing. Let's get to the trap door.
Let's do it.
In between filming B-roll of flags, I was walking back and I saw that bro had the trap door open. And so I naturally get out my phone and I'm all like stealth starting to record. I don't know if they're going to try to tell me not to record them or not. And I'm like right next to him. I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, I got to see inside of there. And I like try to hold it up. It's not good enough. So I'm like, we're going up. And this is with my phone. And I'm realizing that the phone is not going to be able to see down inside either. I got to get out the camera and like adjust the exposure myself. So that's what we do. So this is with a telephoto lens from above him with adjustable exposure, and I'm going to blow the rest of the scene way out bright so that way it's correctly exposed for inside of the hole. And I mean, it's not like I don't think we discovered the bat layer or anything like that.
All right. I really appreciate this part, and this is what I really do appreciate about Ian Carroll. He went and he basically went through, which in a way, if I had went earlier, it might not have been quite as pretty much most of these theories were already out by the time I would have went there. But the more theories that are out, I think it is cool because he can actually address all of the particular theories that have come out. And I want you to look at this situation here. Quiet, Frida. You will see, he says, oh, it's not that big. It's not a bat layer. Okay, let's keep in mind, this is about where Charlie Kirk was sitting, right? Okay. And there was a box next to him. If you see the footage, he's not only is he up on a riser, which is a mini stage, which has an open bottom. There's also another box over to the left of him. And I believe there's actually like a railing here that has, his banners and stuff that might even encapsulate this. I'm yet to see if anybody could give me the footage of a visual of this outside of his tent area. I don't think it's underneath the Easy Up proper, but I think it is underneath the adjacent tables and behind the banners and stuff. Because I've yet to see it in one of these, in an open situation on the day of, which leads me to believe that it's either in, on, behind, under. Now, it is obviously to the left of Charlie Kirk as he sits and he looks out. It is to the right of Charlie Kirk as you look, or as the shooter would look. Is it possible in the world that there could be something under here? Now, I want you to see this wire that's under here. This is not a rolled up piece of wire. This is obviously a large cable. And as you can see, the way the arcs, they arc at least to over here. There is a space big enough to get down in there. I personally, I'm a little bit more mouthy. I would have maybe done all this stealth stuff, and then I would have been like, hey, dude, what's down there? Like, can you get down there? I would have asked him questions. I'm surprised he didn't. Maybe he did. Maybe he's teasing it. But why did they get rid of the grass? Why did they pave it over? Nobody ever claimed that they put in the trapdoor just for Charlie Kirk. That was never a claim. I never made it. I never heard anyone else make it. They're like, it was there already. It's like, yeah, it was there already. You think they just put a trapdoor in and put a fucking stage on top of it? Of course not. And I'm not saying this is the absolute theory. I'm saying it is plausible. If you can't find all these other angles aren't making sense, if it is possible that there was a auditory shot to be the distraction and then another shot occurred at the same time simultaneously, it is not beyond the realms of possibility. I'm not saying it happened, but it is not beyond the realms of possibility. This is big enough to stand up underneath. This is where Charlie Kirk was sitting. These loops of wire go at least this far. It's not, obviously this is not up against a wall, because these loops wouldn't be like that. They wouldn't be that. They would be like this, not looping out. You can see where the loop of this heavy gauge wire goes. For anybody who knows about heavy gauge wire or hoses or whatever this is, it's not just going to kink right there. It's not going to kink right there. This goes under. This is very important. I wish he had gone a little deeper into this, but let's look at it. And again, is it possible that he was shot from underneath through the butt and it came up, out into his neck? Now, the only way to know that would be to look at the chair, because I doubt, they would have to shoot through the bottom of the chair. And so maybe someone could look at some of the footage, or maybe I will, and see if there's any indication that there might be a hole in the chair. It's a long shot. I understand that. But is it completely debunked? No, because one of the debunkings is it was already there, which obviously it was already there. The other debunking is it's way away from him. Is it? Show me in a picture where this is outside of his tent. And if it is, how far outside? Is it more than this outside his tent? Because I don't think it is. Okay. And I'm not saying I know for a fact. I'm not saying I've cracked it wide open. Tune in now. I'm just saying I do not believe this has been debunked, especially because why did they pull up the grass? Why did they already have blocks ready to go? How could you possibly get planning permission to put down blocks in a school? You wouldn't be picking out the blocks. You wouldn't say, shall we use brown blocks? Shall we use gray blocks? Shall we use these blocks? Should we use some underlayment? Is it strong enough to put the blocks down on? I mean, you would want to have if I was doing this job, I would be having dirt compactors in there. I'd be laying gravel down. I would be using ground thumpers. I'd possibly be putting in, maybe in some kind of situation so these blocks don't just weeble into the dirt, which was originally grass before. And all of a sudden, the next day, they're tearing up the grass and putting down blocks. Why? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying. Now let's watch the video.
But you can see that there is a space under there. It is clearly like a room style space that you could get down in there and move around. And clearly, like, he could jump down in there and work on whatever equipment is under there. And there's this giant water feature right there. So that's not like crazy suspicious. Like, it makes sense that they would have features under there to run the water systems. Like, it was just neat. We also, I mean, feel free to run crazy wild with your conspiracy theories if you want.
I mean, it's not actually going to tell us anything.
But it was neat. And the other one, it's just a sump pump. This one did not appear to have any other space around it. This one appeared to be contained in just what it is. You can see the walls around the edges. Okay. The other one, I could tell from looking down that it was a bigger space, bigger than just what you see here.
There's a crawl space and another grate.
Take that for what it is.
But
okay. Oh, and then something crazy happened today. Something weird. They started taking away more of the scene. They brought in a forklift and started taking away the planters above the water feature.
Like turn off the water feature? Bizarre.
Don't know why, but they're taking out the planters now. This is the second one. They'd already removed the one on the corner. And there's like a nice Charlie Kirk memorial, like little signs and flags stuck into these planters that I guess they're just going to take away. So I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know what to make of it, but that is what it is. So there's a couple of things.
is the person was like walking through here, probably towards the prow.
I am super confused by the Woodbury building footage now, by apparently seeing a person on top of the Woodbury building. We can remind ourselves of that because I have it in this footage right here, right there. This is where, like, maybe it's not a person. It's probably too small to be a person. I don't know if it really moves. I'm suspecting that was not a person, honestly. Based on how visible the top of Woodbury is. Okay. One other thing that might be interesting to you guys that we have here. This is me analyzing the rooftops. This is me in the back. Is the woods.
These are the woods where the gun was allegedly stashed.
There's this big dip down that when you get down there, you're like totally hidden.
You are
and private.
Obscured from the road.
And by the way, people that saw my original Google Earth footage from about a week ago, you will know that from the corner of the building that he jumped off of to the ROTC building, which is like super military level training they have there. Like I say, I know it's a thing. I know schools have it. It's just very funny that he ran in this direction. And now that was 180 yards from the corner of the building that he jumped off of to the ROTC building. Now from this location here, it's maybe 60 yards, like literal stone's throw down this street right here. It just goes down the street to the right. Anyway, so this is really cool that he found the chicken coop and everything. We'll get into this footage here. And then I will say again, when he says it seems like that would be a hard way to go, or he doesn't want to go in people's yards. Like if you're running from the law, that just wouldn't be a concern. You would just jump fences, jump walls. I mean, have you ever ran from anybody in your life? I mean, that, let alone after murdering somebody on live TV, you're going to jump over walls. You're going to go, it's just not going to stop you that there's any of these blockades that are here. So I don't know which direction he went. But again, this is amazing footage. Ian Carroll, the man, awesome. Found the chicken coop. Let's go.
Down here. And all of this.
That's like a steep hill up to the houses.
Goes up to people's houses. But I don't want to go getting in their way, up in their shit.
And then I'm like, oh, but that looks like the chicken coop. That looks like a fucking chicken coop. I don't cross no fences, but I just like peep from this side, and this is clearly the alleged chicken coop. There, you can see the eggs. When I went around the corner, I could see there's all these eggs right there. This is the chicken coop. And this little spot right here behind this tree must be the alleged drop point. And there is a little kind of foot grab, like you can tell that this is a little stoner path down to this location up to there. That maybe is the kind of thing that the family that lives in this house up here uses this to get down and over to the school, or maybe it's from the crime scene from all the investigators walking up and down it. But there's clearly a footpath of trafficked kind of walkway up from there.
This is a chicken coop.
I wasn't about to go trespassing on people's property, but that was clearly the drop site. And that is the chicken coop. And there's the chicken.
That's the chicken coop. And apparently this is where the rifle was stashed.
The rifle that is the only thing linking Tyler Robinson to the scene is that they just so happened to find this rifle that is a custom antique family heirloom. You could not get a more like specific identifier to link a person to a scene of a crime than this custom gun given to him by his grandfather. Very convenient that that is the gun that's left in the woods off site that we've never seen on camera. We've never seen in a photo. We've never seen in a video with Tyler. We've never seen Tyler holding it on campus. We've never even seen anything that is clearly Tyler on campus. But we found a rifle that he very specifically, definitely owns over here by this chicken coop. Don't ask any more questions.
Here and been walking down here. You came back up to the road that he stashed it. So that's the chicken coop right there where it was allegedly stashed. And we don't really have clarity over whether he stashed it and then ran up through the houses. Doesn't make sense. Seems more likely that he stashed it, you know, assuming that's what happened, and came back out up to the road, which is what I'm going to do, because there's not really a way through over there.
Here we're about to see the house on the corner that
thing is
Candace is suspicious of.
You came back up to the road, then it seems likely that that camera would have been able to capture you a second time, because you would have come up onto the road here and been walking down here to get back over to your exit point. And so in the same way that the camera was able to see him.
So back there, right over my shoulder in the corner there, you can see the point on the building where the camera that showed us the rooftop video is. So it should have footage of him if he took the road back down to get back towards his car. It would probably have seen him again, which they're obviously not going to show us.
He was over here on the grassy knoll before he crossed the street. It would have been able to.
And right here, you can't really see it, but there is kind of a footpath that leads up through these woods, kind of into the property of this abandoned house.
Side of the road, right there.
That
I can clearly
looked
see
awfully convenient. If I was looking to get off the road as quickly as possible and back towards my car, I would have gone up that footpath towards that abandoned house. No evidence that that's what Tyler did. I don't know, even though that camera probably would have showed it. But I thought it was worth mentioning that there's like, you can't really see it because of this bush.
But here's the corner house that the school apparently.
I mean, there's also just like all of these ways up it too, but.
So you can tell.
Okay. So I think that that's all I really want to share from the footage right now. A little bit of data for a couple of different theories. If any of the investigators are out there seeing any of this footage and you want more detail on something in specific, or you want me to share any of this footage with you specifically, let me know. If there's any questions that you have based on what you're seeing here, let me know. I mean, because at this point, our theories are kind of getting narrowed down a little bit, right? As in, a shot from the side, there's not a lot of places the shot could come from. A shot from the front, there's also not a lot of places it could come from.
Again, you don't need a lot of places. You only need one place.
And the roof of the Velocity Center is the most obvious one. Maybe from further back. This footage is not exactly from where Charlie was. It's from up higher. Once you're down lower where Charlie actually is, a lot of these buildings behind go out of view. Like the Woodbury building is out of the question. A lot of the potential places start to not be possible. Most of the windows around campus don't open. It's actually not as easy of a place to get a line of sight and put a shot down as it kind of seems from the footage. So I don't really know what to make of it all. Let me see if I want to land right.
Wait a minute. I saw something. Let's play it.
And put a shot down as it kind of seems from the footage. So I don't really know what to make of it all. Let me see if I want to land.
Oh, there's another R2D2. Oh my God, they're everywhere. Maybe this is the thing that shot him, because these R2D2s are just. I'm just fucking around. It's another R2D2, basically. And see this vent? So does that show you any idea of how large this space might be under here, possibly? And would you actually have access to go all the way back to the thing? For me, I'll tell you what. Let me put this out here. Let me just say this. I will give $1,000 for anybody who can get down into that underground cavity and do a full search of the entire area and see how big it is. If it's small, it's small. If it goes back, I want to see all corners, no stone left unturned. I want to see how far it is. And please, if you're going to do it for the full $1,000, bring me a tape measure. I want a tape measure down there. I want to measure over, and then I want you to look up where Charlie Kirk chair would have been, and I want to see if there's any kind of new patching or any kind of new R2D2s or anything on the roof underneath there. Okay, $1,000. I don't have a lot of money, but if I could get this footage, I will give you $1,000. I promise. Okay, get a hold of me. All right, leave a comment on this video if you've got that going. Anyway, back to Ian, because there's another part he does here. He says he's stopping, but there's another really interesting part that he gets into. Again, great footage. Thank you, Ian. You are the man. I wish I could have gone out there and done this. I may have gotten some different angles, but personally, I think you did a really fucking good job.
EVE Online is a vast universe.
Dumb commercial deal.
Where did I? Oh, me. I know why. I took that.
So again, is this where the fern is? I would like clarification. Is the fern in here, up this stairs, which you could skip back, come over underneath the thing? He says, or is it up here? Is that where the fern is? And over there, then you've got this weird behind here. Eventually he goes, I don't know, he's showed it before, but there's this area where you could be on a roof and you could just kind of boop, 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 boop right here. And it's a perfect shot. Again, this is where Charlie is. And then this is where the tunnel is. And they just decided to block all this off over here. Not the tunnel, the fucking trapdoor. Okay. Which everybody laughs at, which makes me laugh at it even less.
That clip out because there's a whole bunch of students' faces in it that I didn't want to blast on the live stream as I zoomed in up there, but I didn't want to like blast the zoom in on them. Oh, hey, here's another thought. Questions that you have based on what you're seeing here, let me know. This footage is not exactly from where Charlie was. It's from up. Where did I? Oh, me. I know why. I took that clip out because there was a whole bunch of students' faces in it that I didn't want to blast on the live.
What is he covering up? Ian Carroll is in on it. I'm just kidding.
Stream as I zoomed in up there, but I didn't want to like blast the zoom.
I keep trying to stop it at this little spot here. This is on top of the Woodbury building here.
Where did I? Oh, me. I know why. I took that clip out because there was a whole bunch of students' faces in it that I didn't want to blast on the live stream is I zoomed in up there, but I didn't want to like.
Okay. So this is the Woodbury building here, and it is very, 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 very out in the open, like I had pointed out previously. I believe this is the Woodbury building, which again, theoretically could have had a shot here, but somewhere in between here, or is it possible there might be some kind of access to these little doohickeys here? That's something we could think about. This would be a perfect shot if you could get in there. And I mean, technically, you got to keep in mind, you know, robotic guns are not out of the question. Those things do exist. You could have virtual, you could have telepresence, and you could just have a little gun up here, and it would just be like, no one would ever know any different. The sound of it would echo off the roof, echo here, echo here. You basically wouldn't hear it with all the stuff going on. That's very unlikely, but I just did notice that little feature there.
Blast the zoom in on them. Oh, hey, here's another thought. Just couldn't help but notice. So this is where Charlie was, is where these plants are. And when you turn to go back behind, back here, there's a security camera right there on the ceiling that they have by now replaced in its entirety. For some.
This is another thing. I would like somebody to something about construction that personally I don't know. To me, this is concrete. This is poured concrete. I'm not there in place, but when you go into a underground parking structure, you will see poured concrete. These are the expansion cracks. So changing this ceiling out, I don't know, maybe I didn't see it, but to me, just from a construction standpoint, I am in construction, this doesn't seem like something you can just change. So please send me that if you could.
Some reason. Well, not in its entirety. We saw a video of them replacing sections of this ceiling.
Camera's right there.
But you remember the dude that was, you know, the glasses guy that everyone's super suspicious of, that was like on the security team, that looked like he grabbed something off he took the SD cards out of the cameras, and then he like also ran back here and was like on the phone up on this gravel hilltop.
This is where they evacuated him to.
This gravel slope, when you're actually there in person, it would be a lot harder to get up onto than it looks like on video. That wall, I'm a tall dude, but that wall is really tall compared to the average height person. Like the height that dude seems like he is, this thing is coming up like halfway up his body. He would have to like vault up onto it. And then the slope is really steep, actually, of rounded, large rocks that would slide down under your feet. Like walking up this little slope would be like a scree field. And so it's like a really weird place for bro to go stand in the middle of this commotion. Like it took him effort to get up there. And honestly, it would be a lot easier to get up over here and then to walk up the lesser slope than to just get up here and go straight up. But
could someone send me this video too? Because for some reason I don't know exactly what he's talking about here. I don't know. Is the video show him climbing up here? Does it show he's already there? Do we know that he didn't come up this way, or that he didn't use these buckets and this thing to get up there? And I don't know. If he was up there, he was up there. So however he got up there, he just got up there. The question is maybe was he communicating to somebody through here? Like, okay, dude, you got to bail. The guy that would be over here, if you know, three-dimensionally, who could possibly be Fern Dude. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to find the most elevated place he could to look over the SUV, and just being burly, he just climbed up some rocks. I don't know. Could somebody please send me that clip if you have it? Just leave it in the comments.
Like, I have no idea why he was there, what he was doing up there. I don't know. It just struck me as like when you're there in person, it becomes pretty obvious that is not a convenient place to be at all. And I don't see any reason to be there at all. So I don't know what to make of that. The memorials are really pretty. They're really touching. I think I'm going to say a brief thing about the memorials, and then we'll jump into question and answer. All I really want is for some rooftop expert to tell me what this thing is. And I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure that we're just chilling. I don't know why it appeared and disappeared in the footage on the day of the shooting. It is obviously.
Again, as you can see here, see how it's white on top, kind of white like a cloud. It's a little bit bluish over here. We're on the shady side. See how this is the shady side of the building? The sun is over here. If the sun was at a more oblique angle like this, I could see it lighting up this with a reflection of the sky. And at a specific point in the day, I could see this metallic almost matching the sky. I'll show you some pictures from Google Earth after this that show you some of these drain pipe type shadows on the roof. So, yeah.
Visible today from the entire walkway, way beyond where that video was taken from. So I have some questions, but let's just pause this on this photo of Charlie and Jesus. And let me pull up the chat now. I'm going to pull the chat over into this window here so I can see you guys. And now we're going to hang out a little bit. If you guys have any questions, I can answer any questions directly. I can show you anything in the footage. It looks like a duck with antennas. It's clearly a thingamajig. There we are. Now we're on it. Who said that? Maddie knows what's up. It is clearly a thingamajig. A rooftop expert. You guys don't know what a rooftop expert is? Come on, dude. A rooftop expert. I had a rooftop expert in my DMs today. Ashley Hayes, thanks for the super. Thank you for doing this. Very helpful. I appreciate you. I mean, honestly, I didn't do it to be helpful exactly. I did it because it felt right in my own mind, just so that I could see it. Like the footage I'm going to use it to make a video, and it obviously is useful for us to like see it. It is useful. And I'm happy to share as much of it as I can and anything I can. But I kind of just came because it felt like I should see it, because this thing has impacted me tremendously, and I'm sure that it will continue to do so. I have a feeling that this story will continue to impact us for years and years and years.
Yeah. That's why,
but also,
like I was saying, I said the same thing when I did my situation, the Google Earth, is that once this story really goes cold, I mean, they're already paving over everything. People's memories go, people, change their cell phone. They didn't back up some of these videos. So it's just super important to have every piece of evidence. Now, if the truth is the truth and they prove what they prove, maybe they have other pictures, maybe they have video of him on the roof and they just don't want to release it right now. Then we will have all of the evidence to prove or disprove what's going on. And we won't leave all these questions for the eternities, like the JFK assassination, to constantly be, going over. In reality, we probably will never find out. But yeah, I think there was another part of this. I thought it was this video, but maybe it was another one of his. He showed he was showing the radius of the gun shots, and maybe it was another one of his videos.
Here's the truth about the Social Security Disability Program.
You can receive up to $3,600.
All right, let's go back to his on campus. Where did the bullet come from? No, is it this one? Oh, here we go. So yeah, look at this one. This is interesting. I find
triangulate wherever all three of those range circles intersect. That's probably where your shooter is located. And 7 crack bang analysis seem to be lining up with over here.
Okay, now going again, just to point this out. I'm not saying this is the reality. I'm just saying that this is something here. Can you see my mouse? Can you see my mouse? There it is. Okay, so the crack bang analysis, they basically do the timing based on these different circles. They can tell you where the radius of how far it is based on, the speed of sound and so on and so forth. So all these different colors are based on different cameras that are in different locations, apparently. So there's so many echoes in this area that it would be very tricky. But for all of these, so the theory is that if you can triangulate it based on the theory is you can triangulate it based on it. This circle is so far from that circle. This circle is so far from that circle, and then it basically triangulates it down to where this fern position. I believe that's exactly where the fern is. So, I mean, I think I saw a dude there. I don't know if anybody has a better photograph of that image, because everybody uploads and uploads. So I doubt that the image that we're seeing of that image is actually the clearest possible one. And there's also possibly in another clip, somebody could find where somebody pans up and sees that area and does happen to see the shadowy figure behind the fern. That is not the fern. That could be possibly and has a line of sight to the center of the menorah. So let's just have them break that down real quick.
On Charlie's right, which we will look at in just a second. Now, this person has yet to make a video explaining their specific crack bang analyses and how they made these calculations. And I'm not going to pretend to be some expert at crack bang. Not my field of expertise at all. This is speculative at this point. This is not proven fact. But it is highly indicative that it's not lining up to the rooftop at all, right? And I'm looking forwards to other experts double checking this person's work. I'm sure that everyone that's looking at this stuff has already seen this guy's work. So just really briefly, how crack bang works. When a round is fired that goes more than the speed of sound, there is a crack initial signature that travels faster than the bang that follows, which is the actual. And I don't understand all the physics of it, but you can look it up. You can get educated for yourself. And there's two signatures, and the distance between those two sound signatures can give you an estimate of how far away from the gunshot your camera was. Okay. He's got some of his calculations here that I'm not going to try to pretend to be an expert at. So
again, that could be anomalous based on all those echoes. But again, it does seem strange that they all just happen to find here. One thing I find strange about this particular graphic is why are the sizes of the circles different? So if from here, the range would have had to been, let's say 50 feet, but from here, the range was 100 feet, but from over here, the range is 150 feet. That doesn't quite make sense. I guess it does, because if it's 150 feet away from the other person, I guess that does make sense. So it's anywhere that's 150 feet away from the person that is 150 feet away from the sound of the crack bang. Okay, I guess that does make sense. So then again, this is quite a grouping of crack bangs here. So I don't know if anybody else has done that. John Cullen, Mr. Crackbang, could probably tell you what you know about rolling down in the deep. And then I wanted to show you an alternate theory. And now, obviously, I was one of the first people because I am friends with Harrison Smith. And he particularly told me that it is a fact that the people were worried that Israel was going to take out Charlie. Does it mean they did? No. Does it mean he had a lot of security that were, and other people like forget his name, but saying, if he knows operatives and contractors and people the type of people that were the security for Charlie Kirk. And he said that the way they were moving after the assassination attempt was that of a cover up, that they were covering up, that they were gathering, that they were handing off, that they were doing things. If you look at the weird guy that does this, the fact that he's smiling in Charlie Kirk's bloody face, that's weird to me. That, reading into it, just intuition says, we tried to give you the money, Charlie. You didn't take it, did you? Look, are you now? As Scarface says, look, are you now? You're not doing so good. I fucking told you to take the money, Charlie. You didn't take the fucking money, Charlie. So why is he smiling? That's weird. That guy is weird. He does the clip right at the time the gun goes off, or the pager goes off, or whatever it is. But at the end, he's right in there and he's literally smiling at Charlie. Like, who would smile at a bloody corpse? I don't know. Certainly not somebody that loved Charlie, I would not say. So now let me switch back to my Twitter account here, and I have a couple other things I wanted to show you. I'll bring this other screen up here. Share screen. Back in the game. Okay, we have the infamous R2D2s on the roof there, aka vent pipes. And let me get my scene here. Okay. And so let's see. There was this. So real quick, you can see here
shooter video. I think I've at least.
I was one of the first people to do this Google Earth thing. I did the Google, actually the first person I saw doing the Google Earth thing. I broke down the whole campus, the whole thing here. I broke down how this roof
Woodbury building. Now if you look at the clip, you will see this is that building right there. And if you zoom in, just get a little closer here, you could see where the sign is. And you'll see this is the 3 roll-up doors, and this is where you see the man popping out from behind the corner. So as you can see, this is the Woodbury building sign. This is the 3 roll-up doors. This is the railing that's going on here. The image of the person that is behind this, what appears to be this corner, if we were down here, you would be looking up at this corner, you would see the person coming behind here. So this person is out completely on the open.
Right. I'm just pointing out that I had made this video. Apparently not enough people shared it. Nobody wants to be disproven, and they want to keep their conspiracies going. So this was breaking down the fact that, as you can see, there's not only this window, not only this window, 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 all these windows overlooking this. Now, I feel there is some cover in here, and also we don't know, there might be a window that might pop open, or even somebody might have just removed one of the little glass windows on the side of one of these vents. That is a possibility. Not saying it's fact, but that is a possibility. I then go on because there was a so this is that image again of the point out. So I point out that that what appears to be in this corner here was actually, as you tilt the roof down, you'll see that that's actually see that. So that's actually this corner. You're looking at this, and it looks like this is up in the air, and you're looking back here. So this person was here-ish, or bird, or whatever you want to call it. Again, there is this area over here, which I feel there is some cover. But again, I debunked this as being a high cover area a long time ago. And then there was also another theory that was going
Here is
around.
where I'm about to debunk the extra shooter theory here.
Okay.
Just keep in mind,
there was a theory saying that there was a shooter here and here based on an image that was, it was basically, let's see here. But in reality, here we go. Let's see this.
Because this man.
See, so here, Ryan was pointing out that this, it looked like, because he said it was in front of the Sparks building, but I pointed out that in reality, that is this building here behind that. Seen from here, it's that. So that debunked this location. This location is not debunked, but it would be tricky. But then again, a lot of these places, including this and this is a little higher. Maybe it would be a little easier to be up there. But when I was in San Diego with Luke, I'm trying to find the video. We actually saw people on the rooftops, and we just assumed that they were, snipers for Charlie. I remember mentioning it. I'm trying to find the video of it. But, you go to an event like that, you're just like, oh, well, maybe these are our guys snipers, right? So Just for context here, I was at this is actually interesting footage right here. If you want this video, and I would say this video could be of interest basically because he was in San Diego here, and you can see all these other rooftops around here in San Diego, and you can see you can see how
100,000 lives are saved by seatbelts.
it's kind of a similar situation. What I was struck by is how his table situation is exactly the same. Like his table setup is exactly the same. He's got the hats on over here. He's got this. He's got the other one. You'll see if you look at it. I don't have time to pull it all up right now, but look at all these roofs and these trees, roofs and trees, roofs and trees. And this I actually think might be the guy that is the shades guy. Now, for tell me if I'm wrong, but I think he's or somewhere around here in the footage. You'll see him real close if you ever want to figure out who he is. If he hasn't been completely ID'd yet, is it that guy? So I have that video if you ever want to get a closer image of who the dude is. So that's even, I think there might even be an even closer image of him right about here. Well, he also, Charlie says something interesting on here about let's listen to what one of his last he says, I don't need to make excuses for the Old Testament. I have the new covenant. I don't have to deal with rabbinical law. Let's see if I can find that clip. Well, this is lagging. I don't know if I want to wait for it. Anyway, so yeah, it's a long clip. So let me just get out of that. Anyway, you can check that out. That's on my page. This is what I found interesting. Okay, so there was a lot of talk yesterday on Ryan's space, which was absolutely massive. He had all the big players. He's been crushing it on the spaces, getting Myron Gaines, Ian Carroll, Sam Parker, Ian Malcolm, just pretty much the biggest of the biggest. I mean, the only person that didn't show up was like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens. I think Matt Baker was in there, all the heavy hitters. So as we all know, he said that about the transgender. So there's the transgender line that they took the shot. Now, could that have been a perfect lineup for the patsy to say, oh, this is the transgender, that's why it was at that moment? Apparently, supposedly this event was not live streamed. It's hard for me to believe nobody live streamed it. I mean, I was live streaming. Luke was live streaming. We had 2 live streams going on when he was in San Diego, just ourselves, let alone TPOSA people, just random people streaming the event. Weird. But so I was streaming the other event and nobody was streaming this. But from what I gather, the event was only 10 minutes basically in to the entire event. And so one of the few questions that were asked was not only what does he think about gun violence in Utah, he was asked what he thinks about LDS, the Latter-day Saints, the Church of Latter-day Saints, not LSD as some people have been calling it, LSD. So so before he gets hit, as you can see, yeah, I did check this video because it has the weird dude that smiles and does the clip on his chest, or does the squeeze gun that some people have said. And he was asked right before getting murdered, not the second before, but very, very shortly before, about Mormonism, the Nephites, the people from the Nephite that believe in the golden tablets and so on and so forth. And he basically says that there is no archaeological evidence for it. Now, he says that in Utah. And people were saying last night on the space, this guy's a Mormon, and that guy's a Mormon, and this other guy's a Mormon. Like, if you've ever been to Utah, everyone's a fucking Mormon, okay? And certainly everyone in power, and every like older white dude that's in power in Utah is a Mormon, Okay, newsflash. It's a giant Mormon area. Like you can't buy beer in the town. They have like, I don't know how it is now, but when I went there was like government ran liquor stores that you could only buy like 3.2 beer. And I mean, they might have changed now, but I mean, it's Mormonville. I actually got pulled over there for smoking marijuana when I was 17 years old. So, they're like, boy, you've been smoking marijuana. They put me in jail. So yeah, it's a very Mormon state. The whole thing is about being Mormon. All the names of the places are Mormon. All the banks are Mormon. The national parks are Mormon. I mean, the fucking whole thing is Mormon. No offense. So I wouldn't care and wouldn't really think about it much. But then the other day when a truck bomb went off in a Mormon church. I mean, when was the last time you've heard of Mormons? And somebody mentioned this. It was actually America AF, the girl and Chip who make those amazing signs. I have the cool signs and flags they carve out of wood. You should go get something from them because they need your help and they make really great art. Very patriotic, cool people, J6 people. And anyway, so she was like, "Oh, why does this matter?" And so I posted. I was like, "Well, there was the leader of the Church of Latter-day Saints died, and Sam Parker's pointing this out, and there was the attack on the Church of Latter-day Saints, and it was the same day, I think, or it was either the same day or the next day, and so I said, well, those are 2 data points, so it's not technically a pattern. To me, a pattern would at least need 3 before it just becomes just a linear coincidence. You start getting 3 points, now it's like it's starting to become an object. So I said, well, we'll see if there's a 3rd data point. Now, little did I know the 3rd data point actually existed prior. And I was kind of hearing, Mormon this, Mormon that from the Charlie Kirk thing. Utah is just a little weird, all this Utah stuff going on. Utah Mormon, same thing. And then this clip surfaces where Charlie Kirk is basically, in a way, one way or another, denying the Church of Latter-day Saints in Utah. So it's like going to Israel and telling them that they're all going to hell for not believing in Jesus. Not quite, but you get the point here. Let's watch the clip without me yabbering on, see if you can gather what I'm saying here.
Where's the archaeological evidence for the Nephites?
If you guys had any idea how many more.
By the way, Nephites. Nephi is a town, and the Nephites, I believe, is because that's where they were considered to find the tablets or something. But they're called the Nephites, which is Church of Latter-day Saints. So, clarify on the ins and outs of it, but it's basically response to LDS, Latter-day Saints. One more time.
Where's the archaeological evidence for the Nephites?
If you guys had any idea how many Mormons came into my chat and were saying, that didn't happen, Jeremy. Charlie Kirk did not question the Book of Mormon. Charlie Kirk did not question the golden plates. You're making this up. Why do you lie? All these ridiculous comments. Look here and listen here. Thank you very much.
Differentiations between us and why people don't think we're Christian is because we don't have the same view of the Godhead, and we have an open canon of Scripture, and we don't believe that the Scripture is infallible. So I'm going to challenge you on. Okay, where's the archaeological evidence for the Nephites?
Okay, where's the archaeological evidence for the Nephites? That right there caught on some raw camera footage. Charlie Kirk again.
By the way, for people who are saying that they don't think this is the day of, A, he's wearing the same shirt. B, the stage setup is exactly the same, but that doesn't necessarily mean it. But look, we've got Homeboy here, Smiley Psycho, and his khaki. He's here. If you want to go check it out closer, you can check it and see that this is the day of. And it certainly wasn't after he got shot. So,
and again, is shown from eyewitness testimony to have questioned the exact thing I said in the video, the historicity of the Book of Mormon, the historicity of the golden plates. He said, where are the golden plates?
And where's the archaeological evidence for the Nephites?
So apparently there's other things that aren't on video that he may have said that may come out later, but I'm just saying, like I said, it's a lot funner to blame Israel and just blame Israel on general principle because, they're the ones who go around assassinating people all the time. They're the ones with the exploding pagers. They're the ones that kill nuclear scientists. They're the ones that have a program called Daddy's Home, where they drone strike you with AI when you get home, blow your family up. They're the ones that have Lavender, which basically gives you an AI score and murders you with a drone if you happen to, hang out with the wrong person, post the wrong thing online. They're the ones that have a page of who all the people they've assassinated in the last, decade. So, yeah. Okay. And then you got the Harrison Smith thing where he said that. And then I went to the TPUSA people that were there at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. And they were telling me that they were actually feeling the same way. They said that they were feeling very weird about it, and they thought the whole dissing Candace Owens thing was weird. And then supposedly, yeah, behind the scenes, there was a lot of strangeness, and at least half of the people behind the scenes knew there was a weirdness with Israel and were a little weirded out by it. And if you go to that video that I posted from the day I'll post just the clip later. He actually literally says, I don't have to deal with the Old Testament. I'm a Christian. We have a new covenant. I don't have to deal with rabbinical teachings, is what he said. Okay. And that was months ago. So like he's been going on this. And so he's turning, against the Mormons here and also against the Old Testament situation. So we've got all that. Anyway, I hope I've cleared some things up here, or at least probably created more questions than answers. But there is that angle to the deal. So let's see if there's another thing here that might be of interest. Who's that handsome fellow? What was I going to say here? Yeah. So the trapdoor situation is to me still weird. And let me play you this little clip real quick. If you didn't catch it, it was really cool. And I personally am super stoked. Let me share this screen here. I personally am super stoked. Me and my homie Luke Slywaker, we got press passes. We showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We got in. There was FBI, CIA. There was Secret Service. There was the color guard. There was people with AKs and ARs rolling around, bomb sniffing dogs. It was quite a thing getting into the event. And we got in before the whole show started. We got complete carte blanche, and we got some really great interviews with some great influencers that are, to me, even cooler than a lot of the famous people. So here, check this out real quick. Friendly faces here already. Matt Baker here reporting live for InfoWars here at State Farm Stadium. Charlie Kirk building a legacy. We've seen a lot of friendly faces here already.
We're all going to die, but Charlie was a martyr. I'm not a martyr. So what's that say about my life and our lives and how we're living our lives, right?
Maybe we need to try harder.
I think Charlie someday is going to be a saint. I think it's going to happen, right? He doesn't have a direct path to it, but I think it's going to happen.
They thought they could stop us, but they cannot do that. They cannot when it comes to our movement. Our movement is so strong and so much stronger now than ever before. We have so much momentum, so much righteous indignation, and we're going to take this out and go restore our country back to its former glory.
There is a lot of godlessness in our country, and I hope that people are brought to their higher power, to Jesus, whoever that they proclaim as their God, and they realize that if good people don't step up, don't take positive action, don't vote, that's how our country gets to be in the place we are today.
So many people, there's hundreds of thousands of people outside. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can feel the power already.
You cannot understand the life of somebody unless you understand the death of somebody. That's Jesus Christ in a nutshell. If you want to understand who Charlie was, one must understand what he gave his life for and who killed him. Say something?
I mean, look, everybody's speechless, I think, but if you turn around and look at the crowd, one thing I can think of, MAGA was always missing God, I felt, and it's here. You know what I'm saying?
Today, what's happening is the largest worship service potentially in the history of the world, broadcast out to all corners of the globe because of one man's life. And I think about that, the seeds that Charlie Kirk planted, and the millions of young people across this nation. And my prayer is that those seeds, God is watering those seeds, and those seeds will grow into millions of other Charlie Kirks.
Charlie was inspirational to my generation, Generation Z. And it is incumbent upon us to not give up, to not stop. We don't stop as conservatives when tragedy, adversity, and challenge happens. We move forward, we march forward into righteousness and into truth. And we need to continue to lift up the mantle of truth in the United States of America now more than ever.
Well, we're here celebrating the life of a man that fought relentlessly to get me out of prison. He fought for the same rights that we stood up for on January 6th. And now I'm sitting literally right next to Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, the same Department of Justice that descended upon me and my friends and my brothers at arms on January 6th is now welcoming us with open arms.
He got shot at exactly 12:23. But here's what the Lord said at 12:23. John 12:23 says, Jesus replied, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls on the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds."
Wow. Everyone's been saying that, but I didn't know that the timestamp was the same thing. That's crazy.
Isn't how prophetic God is?
That's amazing.
He's in the detail. He's in control.
And seek my face
How?
and turn from their wicked ways.
That young man, I forgive him.
All right. Yeah, if you didn't see that, I was there on the floor when they did that hallelujah thing, and it was absolutely amazing. Let me find it here. Hallelujah, Charlie Kirk. And it was beyond the level. I'm not like a giant Bible thumper person, but when that song came on, I can't find it right now, but yeah, if you heard that song, I normally don't, do the whole speaking in tongues or I don't go to church. I'll just be honest, I pray to God, but when that happened, I was on the floor. I had my hands in the air, the whole crowd, 60,000 people singing hallelujah. I mean, the hairs on my arms stood up. It was freaking absolutely amazing. So there was so many good vibes at that event. I don't know if it was all some Illuminati theater or whatever. Before I went, I was with my buddy Luke, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be like an MK Ultra mind control show. And all I know is I fell for it. So people say, maybe Erica is some weird things going on. And I'll definitely say there's some stuff there. I'm not going to get into it because when I was there, it felt so real. I don't want to destroy that particular memory for myself, but I'm glad there's other people out there questioning it. I think it's healthy that we question everything all the time. Definitely do. I did. So there was one last thing I just wanted to see here. Well, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys got any questions, or if anybody wants to come in, I did post a StreamYard link in the comments on this video. If you just go to the to the video, go back to my page, go to the comments, you'll see the StreamYard link if anybody wants to come in and discuss any of these points. Other than that, I'm probably going to hang it up here in a minute. Ian Carroll doing great work. All the great people out there, Hustle Bitch, Ryan Matta doing great work. Like I said, I don't care if people find things and theories and they don't end up panning out. It doesn't matter, because we're just getting to the bottom of all the possible leads. The idea that we're just going to believe the government all of a sudden just because, maybe people, Kash Patel is in there, I just don't see that as a realistic thing in life. I don't think we can ever trust the government again. I mean, I don't know, maybe after 20, 30 years of them actually telling us the truth, maybe we could, but I'm not buying a fucking thing they're selling. I'm not buying it one bit. And they have lost their ability to they don't have the benefit of the doubt anymore. There is no benefit of the doubt for the deep state. There is no benefit of the doubt for the CIA. There is no benefit of the doubt for Benjamin Netanyahu. There is no benefit of the doubt for Mossad. There's just no benefit of the doubt. They are guilty until proven innocent, as far as I'm concerned. And they've got to, they've got their own deal. They made their own bed. If you have a neighbor who's been convicted of raping 20 women and someone gets raped in the neighborhood, you're going to question them. If your wife says, I'm afraid this person's going to kill me, and then they get murdered, and then you don't go there, that person's not the number one suspect, especially when they have people that work for them that are their security team. That's a little weird. I met this cool girl. I had no idea who she was, Angela Rosie. And she did a really good thing. She did an interview with me. You can follow her on YouTube. Also, she's Angela Roosee. She's huge on YouTube. She gets like 250,000 views on this stuff. And I had no idea she was. I gave her the interview. So I'm in this. I'll give you this one more video here. Anybody who's still tuned in. And you can check it out. I think she did a really good job. It's so crazy because we were both at the same exact event, and we just got completely different angles from the thing. But I think she did a really good job. And then she did interview me a little bit. So obviously I'm a little bit biased about that. But I thought this was really cool. Just give you an idea. This is what the event was like when we got there in the morning. We got there with all the media, and that the whole thing was empty before the whole thing popped off. And once the singing started going in and the crowd started chanting, it was magical. And I don't care what anyone has to say. If it was done for evil or some kind of satanic ritual, I think it failed because, say what you will, when Erica said she forgave, that young man, so to speak, maybe she forgives him because he wasn't the guy who did it. I don't know, but I literally at the moment felt like Satan fell off his chair. He's like, you can't do that. You've got to be angry. Get mad. So I don't know. I could have been fooled. There was a lot of hoopla going on. There was a lot of chanting. And, I'm not saying I'm, not susceptible to a certain level of mind control, but it was absolutely beautiful from my perspective. Everybody was in a great mood. Everybody was full of the Holy Spirit, and whatever negative intentions there may have been, I think I think it was beautiful. I think people need to get together and do this chanting more often. It's like it vibrates your very soul. Like you see these old churches where they sing hymns in, and they're all designed acoustically, and you sound healing and stuff like that. Like it literally felt, you could feel your soul healing at that time. But anyway, watch this young lady. She did a really good job, I thought. Just check it out. I think she did a really good job here. Sorry, I'm like rambling on, but trying to pull up the clip here. So there she is. And there. Let's hear.
My dad is like a huge fan of you, and so am I. What did you think of the turnout of the event?
Just witnessed a new American revival happening. It's very exciting. A true honor for Charlie's legacy. It's exactly what he always wanted. In the tradition of a true Christian martyr, more powerful in death than in life. And Charlie's the most powerful man I knew in life. So
Yeah.
what is God going to do next? It's very exciting.
How do we continue on Charlie's legacy from here?
Oh, you keep fighting. Yeah, you have to keep fighting. You can't lose the energy. Charlie was a nuclear reactor.
Today is September 21st. It has been 11 days since Charlie Kirk was murdered while debating at a Utah university. So today we are gathered to remember his life and to make sure that everybody knows that his movement is only getting bigger. So we are here in Phoenix, Arizona at the State Farm Stadium to remember his life. Make sure you are subscribed. Let's see how this event goes. Within moments, these seats are going to be filled with people who absolutely adored Charlie Kirk. It is crazy to know that we live in a time that even though everybody is going through security, still they have our speakers covered in protection. That really goes to show the political violence that is happening today. Right, guys, this lens alone is $100,000. I've always been so curious about the zoom. Would you show me the zoom again? You guys are going to see every detail on her face, and look how far away we are. It's just amazing.
This camera right here is going to the Sphere in Las Vegas.
This circle right here is a camera that is transmitting to the Sphere in Las Vegas. That cameraman, he is the main guy. So that is the video that you guys are going to be watching, and they have two camera angles. The other guy is the one who does a really close up, and he does a shot that's a bit further out.
It is about 9 o'clock in the morning. The event doesn't start until 11, and it is packed from the roof to the floor. The entire audience just sang in harmony together, a cappella.
I don't think I have ever heard such a large crowd sing a church song together.
I love the shift that we've taken in the last week. It seems to be more faith-oriented, more Christian-centered, and that's all I ask for. I think conservative values are fantastic, but when it's not rooted in anything, there seems to be a missing hope.
Charlie has impacted so many people in his life because he wasn't about himself. He was about giving a platform to other people and making and helping people be leaders.
We got involved with Turning Point Faith, and my husband worked with Charlie and spent time with Charlie on the faith side, equipping pastors and churches all across America. So to say that he's left an impact, no words. He's a once-in-a-generation man.
I feel like we're being revived as a nation, and many people are Christ.
I don't know if there's really like a lot of words. It's just really touching.
I went to a TPUSA event last year. It was just really inspirational to see someone who genuinely cared about the people.
He impacted my life during COVID. That was when I first discovered him. I was going to an all-girls school, and sometimes it felt a little bit hard to get my voice heard, and it made me feel empowered.
I mean, every single person here, I think, is going to hear worship music and hear the gospel tonight, and that's the most important thing that can happen. It wasn't ever an argument. It was always understanding. He was there to listen, not there to respond. And I think that he was one of the most influential people for my generation, especially. I love that everyone has come together in like unity, and just seeing everyone band together like this has been so awesome and so heartwarming. Like no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on has been really cool.
Here in Arizona, all the way from Michigan. It was a 36-hour drive.
I was gaining more confidence in my political beliefs and my theology and everything as well.
Well, I am filled with the Spirit, because I will say, you know, everybody is feeling sad, but when you see this amount of energy, it's hard not to almost feel joyful. It's a very crazy feeling.
Yeah.
So sad and joyful at the same time.
I've never seen anything like it. How do you feel about the current state of our country right now? And
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think some people are very understanding of the situation, my politics in particular, my faith. Some don't agree, and that's okay. Some I've lost friends from, and it's okay at the end of the day because I believe what I believe, and if you don't want to hear it, then it is what it is, I guess.
where do we go from now?
Well, there are two paths laid out in front of us, I feel, and I hope we take the right path. I hope we use Charlie to do what he would have wanted to do, to increase and enshrine free speech. And there's voices out there that are talking about hate speech laws and other weird laws that are un-American, in my opinion.
Well, I would say for me, Charlie Kirk is really just a phenomenal example of what it means to live out truth and live out your values and to stand firm in what you believe in.
Charlie Kirk has been just amazing. Unless you've been following Turning Point closely, it's impossible to know the positive effect that Charlie's had, not just on politics, though. It's like when you get beyond that, Charlie's commitment to our country, but especially his faith, are going to live long beyond us.
I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. Love for our enemies and love for those who persecute us.
And I want you to know, we did everything we could to save Charlie, but Charlie was already gone. Charlie, until we meet again, brother.
All right, guys, we just heard from Tucker Carlson. We saw that Trump is here in the room. God is in the room with us, most importantly. I saw Elon Musk go by a few times. I mean, the turnout is just so incredible. It is amazing to see so many people united for what Charlie's message was. Like Tucker Carlson said, that it starts with us. It starts with repenting our sins. And that is what the left hates. And the more they try to shut us up, the stronger our message becomes.
You cannot defeat us. You cannot slow us. You cannot stop us. You cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erica in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us.
If you believe our government should put the interests of our citizens first, welcome.
You started Turning Point USA, but this moment is the turning point for the USA.
That was an incredible event. Make sure you're subscribed. Bye.
I thought she did a really good job. I did want to show you one more thing here. Crazy that so I was there and Glenn Beck rolls up. Everybody made fun of it because we got like over 500,000 views. Glenn Beck actually reposted it. It was kind of funny because I was down on the floor and we'd been in the vibe for days because we were there at the memorial the day before, and I think he just rolled in, and so he was just overcome. People say he cries all the time and everything, so that could be true. But I thought this was a great shot that we got. So he had just walked in, and I was kind of excited to see him. I was like, hey, and he was like obviously visibly crying, and it looked real to me. People say he's a professional crier, but so I just shook his hand and then he cried and he went over, and it's funny. I got to console him. Not funny, but I don't know. It's a weird to be talking about it, but I thought it was a cool clip. Yeah. This chick's really cool. She does sings national anthem at some other events too. So there's Austin. Wonder what he's going on about. I did want to play. I'm gonna leave you with the hallelujah thing. I don't think anybody could really understand how badass it was. It was a little bit beyond.
And nothing that you could do who created us, who loves us the most, and nothing that you could do could ever make him love you any less, any more. Can we give him just about 30 seconds of our undivided attention as we sing this chorus? With our hands to the heavens today, surrendering everything that we're feeling, that we're facing, that we're wrestling with, knowing that he is sovereign, he is higher, we can trust him. Come on, let's worship him here. Every voice, every hand, you take it away. So I throw up my hand, praise you again and again. I know it's not much, nothing else. One more time. So I throw up my hand, praise you again and again. All that I have is hallelujah. And I know it's not much, nothing else is for me.